Welcome back. The Supreme Court recently cleared the way for the Trump administration to cancel roughly $65 million in federal education grants linked to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The court's 5-4 ruling reversed a federal judge's order that had paused the termination of those grants. In a statement, Attorney General Pam Bondi called the High Court's decision, quote, a significant victory for President Trump and the rule of law. I want to bring in Todd Wolfson. He is the president of the American Association of University Professors. Todd, it's great to have you with us. How discouraged were you by the Supreme Court's ruling, and do you consider that the last word on this subject?
Thanks for having me, Major. Yes, I am discouraged. We are not happy about that ruling, but I do not think that's the final nail in the coffin here. I think that we will continue. We have another lawsuit out around the DEI executive order, and we expect that we will be able to push back and we will be able to stop what we think are unfair and unlawful cuts to DEI programs.
Todd, the administration says these efforts are about reversing what it characterizes as racist hiring policies. That's its reference to diversity, equity, inclusion, policing anti-Semitism on college campuses, and increasing public safety. Will you evaluate those three contentions?
Yeah, I'll take them one at a time. I mean, first off, I mean, there are all sorts of research programs that are being cut. Let me give you the most extreme example. There was somebody who's doing research on the diversity of genetic material in plants. And that research got a stop work order because it's a DEI program, right? There are researchers who are doing research on differing rates of infant mortality in urban and rural communities. And that gets a stop work order because it's DEI, because we want to understand the difference in infant mortality. The slash and burn approach to a broad, beautiful research infrastructure that we have in this country is being attacked. So that's one. That's like the DEI programs. Now, with respect to anti-Semitism, sure, there's anti-Semitism on campus, there's Islamophobia, there's racism on our campuses, and we have a program and way of dealing with that inside of Title VI and the Office on Civil Rights. And they are not following that process, which says that you have a hearing and you find out what happened with a particular grant, and then potentially from there, if they have violated something, you can cut it. But let's look at what happened at Columbia University. They threatened to cut $400 million in research on biomedical research focused on cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, things that we all need. The American public needs research on that have nothing, zero to do with anti-Semitism on campus. And so they haven't offered a shred of evidence, and they're attacking projects that have nothing to do with the violation they're claiming. I think the third point was police and protest. Certainly, we have to do a better job of figuring out how to both discipline students, but also allow for freedom of speech on our campuses. And I don't think that the attack on our research programs has anything to do with that. I think it's extortion is what the Trump administration did to Columbia and what they're trying to do to other universities.
Todd, you mentioned free speech. I wonder if you could describe, based on your knowledge, yourself and those you interact with, your colleagues, what the atmosphere is like on campuses now and in classrooms regarding free speech and what professors feel they can or cannot or should not say or teach.
Yeah, it's a great question, Major. You know, I'm getting emails, dozens of emails every day from faculty around this country. I teach at Rutgers University, and I've never seen such a palpable atmosphere of fear throughout our campuses, not just our foreign-born faculty and foreign-born students, but our U.S.-born faculty and students are also afraid. The campuses have gone quiet. People are afraid that they might have written something and published it a year ago in a journal, and now there's going to be some sort of retribution from the Trump administration. And so it's a palpable atmosphere of fear across higher education, which is such a detriment to every American. We need our students in classrooms learning. We need them doing critical thinking. We don't need them feeling like they're being watched by Big Brother, which is what's going on here. I mean, the Columbia demand from the Trump administration was that they wanted to have control over what was taught around Middle Eastern studies, around how we admit students. That means that Big Brother is in our classroom. Nobody voted for that, and nobody wants that.
Todd, for those in my audience who might say to themselves, not unreasonably, wait a minute, I've heard about tenure, then professors don't have to worry about anything. Why should they be afraid?
First off, one faculty member just this year lost tenure at an institution for reposting something on Facebook. I think that this is precisely what the Trump administration is trying to do. They're trying to bully our institutions. And unfortunately, our institutions have not held tall enough to date. And they're trying to bully our institutions and tell them the rules. And so important institutions like tenure are being undermined, and academic freedom are being undermined by the Trump administration and their attempts to politically intrude on an autonomous institution. It really undermines the democratic principles of this country.
Todd Wolfson, thanks for your time and your perspective. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Major.